Anyway, he got here when he was 5 years old. They got here like in November. And in March, his father was murdered. He was Union Army.
Oh, wow.
He lived in the Lower East Side of New York. Everybody had to hustle. In other words, he left school probably when he was in 3rd grade. And he delivered newspapers. Everybody had to bring something home for the family. If you were a little girl and you were 6, you took care of a 2-year-old. And his mother worked as a seamstress at home and all that. So it was not an easy life. When he was 12 or 13, he joined the National Guard. But it was not the same as it was.
Yeah.
But as he told me, when he came home, when he was 14, and he came home and there were like 6 chairs at the table and 7 people.
Wow.
He enlisted the next day in the regular army.
Yeah.
He was a coastal artillery.
Yeah, I heard that.
So they sent him to Fort Hancock and did whatever he did. So he was involved in the Mexican War in 1916. And then they got into a new thing called air defense. You know about that.
I've heard of it.
So he was like 15, 16 years old. And he was a corporal. And he goes to Europe. And they made him a trench warden, where he was a squad leader.
Yeah.
And he was in the front lines. And his commander, somebody came down and he said they're starting a new anti-aircraft outfit near Cottonwood. And regular army soldiers. And he said, "Where's Cottonwood?" They said, 10 miles from Paris. He says, "I'll go." So, because he was a trench warden and it was dangerous work. And he went there and he served in the occupation. At that time, if you moved from Company A to Company B, and you were not a first-degree grader, you know, like a staff sergeant, master sergeant, you lost your rank unless they put you in a position for the new rank.
Okay.
So you were a private here, a corporal here. You went to B Company, you became a private again.
Wow.
And then, you know, because that was all rank given out of the company. Okay. Then he became an Army athlete, which was was on an all-Army rugby team to travel all over Europe. That's automatically good for promotion right away. And he did that, and then he came home in about 1919 to what is now Fort Monmouth, what is now Netflix studio. He was there, and then he ships off to Hawaii in 1920.
Okay.
And he played basketball in Hawaii.
I've seen the
So
picture.
that's all he did. He lived in the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. And what happened by that time? And the regimental commander, a guy named Callan, called him in. And he said, my father at that time was like 21 or 22 years old. He only had 6 years, you know. And the colonel brought him in and said, "Are you going to make your career in the Army?" He said, "Yeah, 3 huts and a cot, winning games."
Yeah.
He said, "I wonder why I haven't made corporal." He said, you know. And he says, "Well, I'll give you a choice. It's your choice. You have to make a choice. You can be a wireman or a radio man." And my father says, "I'll be a radio man. Wiremen get dirty. You know, it's cold." So this colonel assigned a master sergeant who had been a major in the Second World War to my father and said, "When you get your first class, certification as a radio operator, I make you corporal." So my father got able to teach people, soldiers, it was his thing to teach them how to type and take code at the same time. And he did that, and he became the dean of Hangar One, which is now a parking lot. And he trained electric radio operators. And then in the 30s, he got involved in breaking the Japanese code. By that time, when I was born, he was a staff sergeant. And then he did that job and became about 1937, 38, he became a master sergeant, which was as high as you could go. And then we lived on Gotham Avenue, and the war, the war started in December 7th. I remember because I was at a movie on the Post. You remember the movie? Well, it wasn't there when you were there, probably. They had a movie right on the main post, right back in the road. That was the movie, 10 cents. And I came home and I was about to talk about the movie, but the president was on saying we just had Pearl Harbor bomb.
Yeah.
But that was December 7th. January 1st, they made me a second lieutenant. He hated it. He was a second lieutenant for one day.
Yeah.
And he became a first lieutenant. Same job, running the code of traffic division. And he became a captain. We had to move off post because we were in NCO quarters. We moved to Longridge, where the grandparents lived. And then when he made major, we moved back on post to Cardi Avenue. And then he shipped overseas.
Okay.
When he went overseas, in the summers, he taught at West Point, at Bear Mountain, whatever.
Yeah.
And when he got married in 1933, in the summer, when he got married, he wrote that the super at West Point. He said he wasn't able to go because he's getting married. And the super said, bring your bride here, we'll give you the observatory, that's what he was. And bring your mother-in-law too if you want. So that was that's kind of unusual. At that time, he was like a staff sergeant or a tech sergeant. And so he lived, they went to the observatory, he taught, and he went back every summer and taught. And we still lived at Gotham Avenue, and of course, he was still the dean of Hangar One. And when World War II started, he got promoted very fast. About 1942, he went overseas. I went to him, and his job at the Paris was to take charge of the UCOM Signal Center, which was in Paris.
Yeah.
It's a big, where all the communications were and everything. And he was called into the office of Eisenhower. And he said, the war is ending. And the war is ending. Eisenhower calls me and he says, we got a job for you because everybody's getting out of the army and we're going to need communicators and stuff. So we want you to start a signal school in Germany. And you can do whoever you need, whoever you want, that kind of thing. And he was a lieutenant colonel. And my father's response was, he says, you got all these West Point coders for nothing to do. He said, no, we know what you can do, so do it. So we started this place from scratch, and it became a showplace in Europe. He ran that place, he started in 45. Had it for 3 years as a commandant. That's the picture he was commandant.
That's in Germany?
That's in Germany, at his desk.
Yeah.
And he ran a place, we had that place for 3 years. Never had a promotional soldier. Also, he set up a system where he would take his best students in certain rooms of county, and every month send them to Garmisch for 3 days. As a place for 3 years, which is a long time.
Yeah.
And the French gave him medals, everybody gave him. Anyway, then we came back to the States. We came back to Fort Monmouth, and then he retired in 1940.
You were there?
I was there from 46 to 48.
How old were you then?
I was 10, 11.
Tell me you
I
went
was
to
bar mitzvah there, the same place.
Yeah.
I was bar mitzvah there, and it's a funny.
you went to boarding school
What?
too. You went to boarding school.
No, I went to
Boarding school. You were in Germany.
I went to the 8th American high school in Germany.
You had to live there
Well, yeah.
at night.
Not only me, no, all day long. I
I
had,
know.
I had a room.
But Grandpa didn't come pick you up till the weekend, did he?
His driver did.
His driver did.
His driver took me. You know, but that was when he came to all my football games and all my basketball games and all that. And we'd take a trip to Rome.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Paris as well.
Okay.
My mother and I. And we went to Rome. My mother, who was dying at the time, and I did not know, had an audience with the Pope.
Oh wow.
And anyway, well, she was hedging her bet, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, but she sent me on a tour of the Vatican treasure house with a priest. And there were 12 people on the tour. And it's kind of interesting because on the tour, now this is Europe, 1946. People are still out with tin cups for food.
Yep.
They were hungry, you know, nobody had nothing. So we're going through the tour, and I raised my hand. And I says, Father, I don't understand it. You got all those poor people, all this stuff, and why don't you sell this stuff and feed those people?
Mm-hmm.
You know what his response was? He didn't say you're not a team player, but he said this. He said, if we sold it all, we wouldn't have any, and they'd be hungry in 2 weeks anyway. Which was kind of true. The point is, I thought that answer didn't quite satisfy. I always remember that comment. You know. So anyway, but we did that. My mother and I went to Paris, and we went to Berlin and everything. The signal school became, but the main lesson is, to me, was when he was a private soldier playing basketball, some officer took an interest, saw something in him, and you know what I mean? It paid off for everybody.
Yeah.
Tell Jacob how you found out Grandpa passed.
What?
Tell Jacob how you found out when Grandpa
I was
died.
in the field in a firefight.
Mm-hmm.
I got a radio call from our adjutant, the 1st and 5th, and he said, I got a message, but I don't know what to do. I said, my father died. He said, you're right. So,
This is in Vietnam?
I was in Vietnam.
Was this your first tour or your second?
First tour.
First tour. Hey.
Bobby was in Kansas City, Liberty, with the 3 boys.
Mm-hmm.
And Bobby flew to New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to her. Do what you gotta do. I don't know when I get home. But my old friend, an example is General Hamlet, who commanded the 227th as Lieutenant Colonel.
Mm-hmm.
An interesting story about him. I was the adjutant of the 1st Aviation Group, the aviation group of the 1st Cav. And the 227th opened up, and Hamlet, who had been a Tuskegee Airman, stayed in the Army, was our S3. And the group commander said, who do you think we ought to give the 227? And Jim Hamlet. And Hamlet, well, anyway, Lucas went to the assistant division commander. And with the assistant division commander, no Negro ever commanded a battalion in the 1st Cavalry Division. This is in 1960.
That's impressive. Yeah.
66. So Lucas comes back, sort of, I said, we gotta talk to General Norton, who's the division commander. Hamlet got the command.
Mm-hmm.
Retired as a major general in the Army.
Jeez.
But he's the one who, when he sent a helicopter to pick me up and take me to Queen Young, where I could pick up an Air Force plane to get home.
Yeah.
And I was only home for not long. I flew into McGuire or wherever, and Walker picked me up.
Mm-hmm.
funeral, and
Came back.
went back to
Went
Kansas
back.
City for a couple days, and then I went back.
Wow.
But,
Crazy.
and even when I was at teaching Leavenworth, I used to have Hammer come down and talk to the students. And he gave me his guest quarters at, I think he visited Papa something at Fort Carson, where he was the commanding division
Yeah.
at that time.
Mm.
Good guy.
Yeah.
But you know, it's funny how life takes strange twists, you know, because if the assistant division commander told him that, they would just kept his mouth shut and go roll.
Mm.
And I said, you gotta go to the Army. So they just okay. But anyway, after he retired, you know, he was
Missing all the good stuff.
Because he knew everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And he acted as like a consultant. I was a consultant, made a few bucks doing that.
Yeah.
But he didn't get very much money for his rate. He only retired. He retired with a 10% disability.
Yeah.
And they questioned that. Because he had joined the Army at 14 years old. And they questioned that. And he said, oh, presumably I was healthy at 14 and passed the physical.
Yeah.
Actually, he told me the recruiters didn't say a word. He got $5 for recruiting him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this was in 1916. And the thing,
Yeah.
the next day, the guy came to me. I thought he was going to ask me if he wanted him to pay me.
Mm-hmm.
Everything got quiet.
Wow. That's weird.
Yeah. He operated behind the scenes like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I went to Virginia Tech, the guy who was the PMS, the guy named Tim Murray, I went to play basketball in Hawaii in 1950. And the battalion commander was Johnson sends a note down. Anybody that had more than 200 days or something, we're going to board out of the Army as on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a guy who went to platoon. His name was Lightfritz. Lightfritz has been a first sergeant, Silver Star winner, was now a PFC. He was a 30-day soldier, he was a drunk.
Yeah.
I used to give him a 3-day cancer. He was a good soldier with my recruits and everything, you know? But I was brought up that way, you know, you think. And he had like 15 years service, 16 years service. So Lightfritz comes to me and says, will you serve my defense counsel on this board?
Mm-hmm.
I said, yes. You can't refuse that. And we beat the board. 3 days later, the letter comes down and we kill him again.
Really?
We beat it the second day. And I'm on my way to flight school. I got orders for flight school.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew in my heart they're going to get him. So the colonel calls me in his office.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings us his exec, Kenny Howard. And he says, Lieutenant, aren't you concerned about the efficiency of the force? I want this guy out of the Army. Still going to bore him again. Well, that time was about Thanksgiving, 1956. My father was visiting.
Mm-hmm.
And my father knows all that soldier stuff, you know. I said, this is the situation. I explained it to him. You know what he said to me? You gotta learn not to shave every morning and look at yourself. You gotta do the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So he beat it again.
Wow. 3 times.
And my father made a house call on the regimental commander. He taught him at West Point.
Oh, wow.
You know, you know. That subject didn't come up.
Mm-hmm.
But when Johnson tried to do that to me again, I of course I went to an interview with the regimental commander. I said, I want to stay in the Army. This is just wrong stuff. You don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, don't worry about it. Anyway, they eventually got him after I left. But we knew that was going to happen. Well, I did that. I did. I played my friends and everything. And if I was If a soldier found me wandering around during the day, he used to pick me up and take me to the guardhouse. And my father picked me up and back in there. But everybody knew each other. It was literally
King, come here.
like a family.
He's running away. Come on, get up here.
Like a family.
Catch her like
It was like a family. You know what I mean?
I'm not understand.
King, come here.
Keep them in here for a second. You can.
Come here, up here. Up.
And when he was indoctrinated into the Single Court Hall of
Fish.
Fame, he was indoctrinated into the Single Court Hall of Fame. And I spoke. I said, none of this would have happened. And there were all kinds of people from sergeants to generals in the audience. I said, it's because some officer took an interest.
Yeah.
If somebody hadn't taken an interest and seen something that brought that out,
Okay, he's on.
it never would have happened. I think that's a big mistake.